I'm 02, aka Jizzing on Bitches on Instagram. You may know me as the interviewer for the Ariguma channel. Yeah, Ariguma interviewer, that's me. So we've been wanting to make this video ever since like the idea kind of popped in Ariguma's head. So elfaction is lore always been so interesting, so we don't want to be outright forgotten or like lost to time. So we thought, why not make a video giving our thoughts about its members. It's been pretty active for like 2024. So now as 7Nightz has returned, so we guess why not. To new fans, elfaction is just a thing Sayako or 7Nightz repped in music, and that's all it. But in reality, it's a group of people who release music on SoundCloud and know one another. It's kind of like a brand and a movement. So there are a ton of members past and present, so we're not exactly sure on the concrete roster because there's always been members in and out. So we're just going to go through affiliates, former members, and active members as we can recall. And first member and foremost, you can't forget 7Nightz. Without 7Nightz, there would be no elfaction, there wouldn't be no this video, and you probably wouldn't even know Ariguma. Who knows? I mean, you really birthed this thing in the community back in 2021 when we first started rapping about elves and rapping about RPG games that he had played. So 7Nightz really began music as a plug-and B rapper called Jordan with an X instead of an O. In 2020, he changed styles to more like a sped up Roblox core slung type of style. You know, that stuff that Lung School and like Koga was doing. In late 2021, that's when he embraced the elf aesthetic and fantasy in his music, and his music became more like, I don't know, wavy, dreamy, ambient type stuff. He grew up in Oklahoma. They say that originally isn't big or popular, so he listened to SoundCloud music in high school and eventually wanted to try it. He always like was nerdy and found rap to be a perfect outlet to express his interests. I think what makes 7Nightz music so good, me personally, is aesthetic, but what also makes him so good is his versatility. There's songs with island themes that are relaxing, you know, chilling on the beach and stuff. Love ballads. Listen to Once a Romantic Bond, now covering Dirty Moss. That one's pretty good. Melodic holiday songs, dark dungeon theme style songs. He can get so much with 7Nightz. I mean, his vocals are always so clean. He can freestyle smoothly. He's definitely a favorite member of elfaction, and Ariguma's favorite member, and that's how he found out about elfaction in the first place. The next member, Sayako. Sayako has a story that's not well known because he hasn't really done that much interviewers, but there's a story there. He's a teenager living in Germany that makes music when he's not in school. He started music as a producer and was found by 7Nightz. Actually, 7Nightz found him when he had like 0 followers. So 7Nightz was actually Sayako's first mutual and main inspiration music. Sayako's first ever vocal song was with 7Nightz actually. What makes Sayako different from 7Nightz is mainly his vocals. Sayako can rap well, but he also has like rapped in German and Japanese sometimes. He also sings in a pitch higher than 7Nightz. I think statistically, he's the most popular member. That's because due to a large number of Sayako's fans come from the Yabujin community because of the Relay artist section on Spotify. A lot of Yabujin fans try to discredit Sayako as like some type of clone, but I think the more you listen to Sayako, the difference you can tell. I mean, the only similarities are they're both European weebs, sampling anime and rapping about anime and rapping about visual novels, but that isn't like personality that's exclusive to one person. It's not like a new concept. The whole like retro wave had been existing since like 2012. I mean, Chris Travis was rapping about that back in like 2013. I mean, anime and rap has been existed for a long time. Sayako's early music was inspired by Yabujin, but he's clearly evolved past that. He seems like a perfectionist and often deletes songs and goes on sporadic breaks. I hope he finds the confidence to release music frequently again. Excuse me, I'm eating a burrito. Next member, 777 Forevermore. June Forever, aka 77 Forevermore, started as a producer. I was making rave type beats and gradually got more relaxed with his sound. He met 7Nightz on Discord and ended up becoming one of his closest friends. June is from Texas and have a different style from the other members. His music's more ambient, slow, melodic, ethereal. He's like an ambient pop star. He raps about themes about divinity, angels, soldiers, and preachers. He calls himself a preacher, suspicious pastor. Before elfaction existed, he was the founder of Bass Arc Angel Boys Baystark Angel Boys, if you didn't know, was a predecessor to elfaction. Like, Baystark Angel Boys was the group, elfaction was like the brand. June is a very resourceful member and is always dropping music constantly. Next member, Sirius. Sirius is a rapper from Virginia that started back in 2016 and went through like many phases. He was in Jules at one time, and he almost was in B&B Death Row. Sirius has a very aggressive flow and also calls himself a dark elf because of it. Sirius is someone who is always freestyling, releasing music. He does whatever he feels like on the song, and so some are better than others. He's like a real bass legend. Next member that holds close to my heart because he was actually the first person I discovered that got me into this thing, and that's Pegasus Flame. Pegasus Flame got his start as the YouTube producer, going under the name Duck. A lot of his music has a theme of opioids, substance abuse. He's from Australia, and has been running events as of there recently. His music is usually sped up and contains a bit of Big Crush. He has a lot of good music in his big catalog. I remember when going to his most popular tracks to start. My personal favorite song, Usain Bolt. Also, I remember in his early works, one of my favorite projects that I first discovered in this scene is Pegasus plus Duck. Also recommend his recent album, Fever Dream, which is pretty good. Next member, also one of my favorite members, Junshi. Junshi was making sped up music in 2021. Then he met Sayako, which is how he ended up getting into elfaction and making his current like retro style now. A lot of people try to pile on Junshi because he's on and off with Saya, but musically he's pretty good. And it makes sense how he sounds a bit like Sayako because Sayako is the one who mentored him, but I hope they do make each other one day. As far as I'm concerned, Junshi's still in the group and is still making elfaction music. I think his music is different enough from Nightz and Sayako to be treated as his own thing. Oh, and he's British if anyone cares. Next member, Haichu. Haichu was a core member of elfaction in his founding days, but I don't know, he has begun to fade in obscurity. In the beginning, he was really a melodic rapper that drew inspiration for cloud rap like Oliver Francis. He really made calm beats and had a nice autotune. Around 2023, he was kicked and brought back at a later date. He's been really inactive musically in 2024, so who knows when he'll make a comeback. I think a lot of people don't give him a fair chance because his name similarities, High C, the drink, Haichu the candy, High C, Haichu. 7Nightz and Saya's best features were on songs with him. A lot of his discog can be found on Ariguna's YouTube channel, which also hurts his availability. The next member, and also the most interesting member, is Sunshine Christo. He's like the little B of the group, if that makes sense. I mean that as he's the most outcast musically in that group. I mean, Christo has released endless amounts of music, which is great if you already like him, but it makes it hard for him to get into him. I mean, there's literally thousands of songs. If you don't like nightcore rap, then he is in your thing. I recommend listening to the mixes of his best songs on YouTube as a starting point. I mean, he's done songs with Nightz, an entire EP with Sirius, but if you like strictly like for the elfaction retro type style from him, I recommend check songs that are produced by Tundra with a 7 and Coya. He's the one that actually showed elfaction to Ariguma and Emo and Chow Bangro Pasu. It's crazy to think that, I don't know, without freaking Sunshine Christo, like all the 2022 elfaction songs would potentially being lost media if this didn't happen. Next member, or should I say producer, Coya. There's not really many producers that don't rap in elfaction, which makes Coya special. I mean, Coya is a Californian who started in the rest community, West Coast represent, and got into elfaction by Nightz. A lot of Night's best songs are produced by Coya. I mean, Coya is the go-to in-house producer for elfaction. I mean, he hasn't really made a lot of anime sample beats recently. His original melodies aren't that bad. I recommend the songs that he produced for Cry Witch, which are pretty good. The next member, Asa Dark Web. Asa's more deeper on the iceberg due to him like deleting most of old music and not really having that big of a catalog. I mean, he's a childhood friend of Nightz and one of the first people Nightz rapped with. They had a duo called Vanity and stuck together forever. I mean, wherever Nightz goes, Asa goes. Wherever Asa goes, Nightz goes. I mean, Asa makes punk music now and does art and clothes. He's a key friend and early believer in the sound. Next member, Krywitz is a rapper from the Carolinas, Carolinas that started making super melodic and distorted rap. Then he started taking off in like 2020 with 4000 Witch Collective. Actually, Krywitz started in 2019 under the name Starry is Sorry, rapping alongside Siphonus, aka Eternity God back then. He makes really dreamy music, and he's always been close to 7Nightz. I mean, I think Krywitz is a person that 7Nightz collaborated with the most. He has more collabs with him than Saya, I think. He's been really inactive in 2024 and a lot of 2023, so who knows when he'll go on another run again. I mean, he constantly deletes his music. I hope he really does make an awesome freaking comeback.
Lil Yume. Yume is a German rapper slash producer that's been in the retro scene for a long time. He found 7Nightz and put a lot of stock into him. One of the earliest to catch on to 7Nightz and Saya. Yume's elfaction projects and his EP produced by Shiny are some of his best works. I really enjoy his German raps over calming anime beats. Kato48. Kato is a Russian rapper that raps in a heavy Russian accent and got brought in by Sayako. I think they met on CSGO or something. They're really close and he's got an EP with Sayako. I was surprised when Kato popped up because before that, there hadn't really been any talk or mention of him. He just showed up one day. I don't mind him though. Shiny. I'm pretty sure Shiny is a former member, but in the case he isn't, he still was in at one point. Shiny started as a type beat producer on YouTube and eventually got large in the slung community. He was one of the go-to producers for Greed when that collective wasn't dead. He was also a huge 7Nightz fan and his raps are similar to 7Nightz' melodic era as a plug rapper. He makes plug but has also done a lot of songs on anime samples. I don't know what caused him to leave or if there's problems there, but I hope it gets smoothed over because the songs he had with the other members were nice. Siren. I was told Siren left on good terms, but he was still a member, so I'm including him. He's from Michigan and makes these sped up raps on his own produced beats. He has a cool flow and I love his features. He doesn't make music with other rappers often. He's a person who prefers to do things solo. He's pretty close with Pegasus Flame, who's another lone wolf type. Gomi. Gomi is an on and off member, sometimes repping it, sometimes not. He's still really popular regardless. He's from London and makes some of the most perverted raps you'll ever hear. He's inspired by a lot of Eroge games and raps super down bad. I think the dynamic of making really cute music but the lyrics being so vulgar makes him stand out. You don't forget Gomi music. This stuff with Sayako is really good. Dunmere. Dunmere is another outcast in tone from the other members. He makes really dark music. He was a trap producer before he began producing hardstyle. He's from Alaska and there isn't really much out there other than trees and nature. His music style got really dark from the boredom there. Really good beats and his raps sounded genuinely scary. He has a couple dark songs with 7Nightz and produced for Saya, 7Nightz, Christo, and Sirius. Datalife. Datalife is one of 7Nightz' OGs from the plug era. He can sing really well and decided to join elfaction. He hasn't made much for the group since right after he joined it went inactive after 7Nightz' hiatus. But maybe when it's active again we'll see what he can do with the others. Kula Fantasy. Kula is a friend of June Forever and Christo and eventually got added into elfaction in 2023 during its inactive period. I'd really like to see what he could come up with if elfaction does revive. Novella. Novella was a super melodic artist that had a super brief run. He makes some really cute songs on Coya beats and did a song or two with Sayako and then dipped. He takes a lot of breaks and I never know when he's actually back. A shame because he could be something if he stuck at it. Tylenol. Ty is a background member to be honest. He was there in 2022 and did some songs but then vanished again. Pretty inactive. I liked his slow autotune flows on dreamy beats, just unexplored potential. There are just so many interesting members and types of music this group makes. I recommend watching the Bass Dark Angel Boys mix or the elfaction mixes on YouTube if you want to hear more of them. It's really upsetting knowing this group went into hibernation the minute 7Nightz left because there's enough talent there to hold on its own. There's clearly a demand for more of this music from fans. I hope they get it together and come back strong.